In this video, everything that you need to know about naturalization in Spain, how to become a Spanish citizen via naturalization. If you're an expat or immigrant, if you've been living in Spain, soaking up its culture and wondering, can I become a Spanish citizen? What's the process? Do I have to give up my current nationality? All good questions. You're in the right place because in this video, we're going to answer all the common questions about this process and share some lesser known insights about Spain's citizenship rules and some of those big questions around renunciation, the test, etc. So whether you're eyeing a Spanish passport for EU benefits, planning to settle in Madrid, or just curious about the process, maybe you have a Latin American passport, you know you have a 2-year path to citizenship, whatever the reason is, this video is for you. So let's kick things off with the basics. Naturalization in Spain is the process by which a foreign national becomes a Spanish citizen through legal residency, typically after living in the country for a set period. It's one of the main pathways to citizenship alongside descent, marriage, or special provisions like the Democratic Memory Law. Governed by the Spanish Civil Code, especially Articles 17 to 28, and regulated by the Ministry of Justice, naturalization is a formal process requiring residency, integration, and adherence to Spanish laws. The allure, a Spanish passport, ranked among the world's most powerful, offering visa-free access to 190 countries per the 2025 indexes, and it gives you EU citizenship, granting the right to live, work, and vote across the European Union. But it's not a quick process, and a key question looms. Do you have to renounce your former nationality? We'll get to that, but first, let's explore who's eligible and what's required. So, to answer the question, who can apply for naturalization in Spain, let's break down the eligibility criteria. The primary requirement is legal and continuous residency in Spain, typically for 10 years immediately before applying. However, there are exceptions that shorten this period. 5 years for refugees recognized by Spain, 2 years for nationals of Ibero-American countries like Mexico, Argentina, and Colombia. This also includes Andorra, the Philippines, Equatorial Guinea, Portugal, or Sephardic Jews with a proven connection to Spain. Another exception with 1-year path to citizenship is for those married to a Spanish citizen, born in Spain, or under Spanish guardianship for 2 years. Here's a lesser known detail. Residency must be legal, meaning you need a valid residence permit, such as a work visa or family reunification for that entire period. The non-lucrative visa counts as well. Absences from Spain can't exceed 6 months total for the 10-year path or 3 months for shorter paths, per the Directorate General for registers and notaries. You'll also need to prove good civic conduct with no criminal record and sufficient integration into Spanish society. Let's tackle the million-euro question. Do you have to renounce your former nationality to become a Spanish citizen? The answer is technically yes in most cases, but there are significant exceptions. Spain's Civil Code, Article 24, I recommend you check out, generally requires foreign nationals to renounce their previous nationality when naturalizing, reflecting Spain's restrictive stance on dual citizenship. This means that if you're from the US, the UK, Canada, or most European countries, you'll technically need to formally renounce your original citizenship at the Spanish Civil Registry during the naturalization process. However, exceptions exist for nationals of certain countries with historical or cultural ties to Spain, who can retain dual nationality without renouncing their original citizenship. So this includes the Ibero-American countries like Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, Nicaragua, Panama, Paraguay, Peru, Puerto Rico, Uruguay, and Venezuela. This also includes Andorra, Equatorial Guinea, Philippines, and Portugal. And France as well recently got added to the dual nationality list in recent years due to bilateral agreements. There's a lot of Portuguese people living in France, so that was probably the behest for France being added to the list, which is pretty interesting. Now, here's the lesser known nuance because the renunciation is often symbolic for some countries. For example, the US doesn't always recognize Spain's renunciation unless you actively revoke your US citizenship with the State Department, potentially allowing for de facto dual citizenship. Okay? So it depends country to country. Some other countries might think that the Spanish renunciation is real, but specifically for the US, and just to use that as sort of like a bar or a reference, depending on what country you're from. But in the case of the US, it shouldn't pose a problem. So Spain requires you to declare renunciation and may not recognize your original nationality, which can complicate consular services. So these are all things to think about, but hopefully you see the light at the end of the tunnel here. There's a lot of countries that have exceptions, and if you have multiple passports, use that one. So, if you're like a US Argentine dual citizen, obviously you'd be using your Argentine passport through this process, and there'd be less pressure to renounce your US citizenship or something like that. So you can see how there's a little bit of strategy that can be applied here. And depending on what country you're a national of or what passport you're going to be using for the Spain residency and citizenship process, you need to check how renunciation works in collaboration with the passports that you have. Now, beyond residency and nationality considerations, let's answer what else do you need to naturalize in Spain? The process is somewhat rigorous with several requirements. So you'll need language and cultural tests. Most applicants, except those under 18, over 70, or with disabilities, must pass two tests. The DELE, the DELE A2, which is the Spanish language proficiency test, as well as the CCSE, which is the knowledge of Spanish culture, history, and institutions. Native Spanish speakers from Ibero-American countries are exempt from the Spanish language test. So if you have a Mexican passport or Brazilian passport, you are exempt from doing the Spanish test. Another requirement is good civil conduct. You need no criminal record in Spain or your home country, verified by a certificate. So make sure you get a police check, a background check from your home country. You'll need to show some integration into Spanish society, such as through employment, community involvement, or language fluency. You'll have to swear an oath of allegiance and swear loyalty to the king and obedience to the Spanish constitution and laws. Other documents include a valid passport, a birth certificate that is legalized or apostilled, a marriage certificate, if applicable, your residency permit, and your proof of address, your empadronamiento. The application is submitted online via the Sede Electrónica, the SEDE, or in person at your local civil registry, with a non-refundable fee attached at the local Registro Civil, and processing can take 1 to 3 years per 2023 INE data due to bureaucratic backlogs. There's a lot of people applying. So the big tip here is hire a specialized lawyer to avoid errors, as incomplete applications are often a common rejection reason. If you would like to get Spanish citizenship or residency, you can book a call with us. MyLatinLife is a full-scale immigration consultancy, and we've helped people get Spanish residency and citizenship from all different countries, whether you're American or Mexican or Argentine. We can help you get Spanish residency and citizenship. You can book a call with us. We can evaluate your situation and ultimately put that residency or that passport in your hands. Moving on, let's explore why pursue naturalization. Well, you'll get EU citizenship. You'll get the right to live, work, and study, not just in Spain, but also freely in any EU country, with access to social services and voting rights in EU elections. You'll have travel power. A Spanish passport grants visa-free access to 190 countries, easing global mobility. You'll also have the stability of not needing to renew residence permits, offering permanent security in Spain and in Europe. And then there's family benefits as well. Your children born in Spain may automatically qualify for citizenship, securing their future. You'll also get consular protection, where you can seek help from any EU embassy in countries that don't have a Spanish embassy, per Article 21 of the EU Treaty. This is a lifeline for travelers or expats in remote regions. Here are some practical tips to boost your chances of acing the naturalization process in Spain. Plan residency early. Ensure continuous legal residency with minimal absences. Track your time abroad to stay under the 6-month or 3-month limit. And prepare for the tests. Enroll in the Spanish test and the CCSE test. There are prep courses as well. The Instituto Cervantes offers resources. Practice your Spanish daily and study Spain's constitution, history, and culture. Gather your documents. Collect legalized and apostilled birth and marriage certificates translated by a sworn translator. Obtain a criminal record certificate from your home country as well. And that document also needs to be apostilled. A big tip here is hire a lawyer. Immigration lawyers can streamline the process, reducing errors. A 2024 report noted 32% faster approvals with legal help. By the way, MyLatinLife, we can help you get residency and citizenship in Spain. There's a link in the description where you can book a call with us and we can talk about your case, answer any burning questions you have about your specific situation, and put you on a path to Spanish citizenship. Another tip is check dual nationality. If you're from a non-exempt country, consult your home country's embassy about renunciation impacts. For example, Mexico allows citizenship reinstatement, but the US process is costlier. And then be patient. So track your application via the Ministry of Justice's online tool, and of course, expect delays. Follow up politely with the civil registry. If you have a lawyer on your case, ensure that they are following up regularly with the Ministry of Justice on where your case is at and if there's any outstanding items, nothing blocking the swift processing of your application. Here's a lesser known strategy, guys, is leverage community resources. Join expat groups or local Spanish classes to build integration evidence, like letters from employers or community leaders. Some people actually volunteer locally in Spain and then get a letter of recommendation from the place that they were volunteering at. Anything helps. So there you have it, future Españoles. Naturalization in Spain is a rewarding but demanding path to citizenship, offering EU freedom, travel power, and a permanent home in a vibrant country with some of the best weather in the world. And while the 10-year residency rule and the renunciation requirement can be hurdles, with the right preparation, tests, documents, and patience, you can make it happen. You can set yourself up to have a 2-year path to citizenship in Spain. So if you can sacrifice 2 years of your life living in Spain for people that qualify, it's an absolute no-brainer. So what's your plan for naturalization in Spain? If you've got questions about the process or renunciation, again, book a call with us. You can also drop some comments below and we'll do our best to respond. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more global citizenship and immigration insights. See you in the next video.